This is an Old Republic, Tales of the Jedi, Golden Age of the Sith video. This video covers the graphic novel of the same name, but from the perspective of the Dark Lord of the Sith, Naga Sadow, as told in the first person. It all began at the end of the reign of the Dark Lord Marka Ragnos. His funeral was nearing its conclusion when I arrived. I did not agree with the newly dead Dark Lord. He had led the Sith during a period of contentment. As a society, we had grown stagnant and satisfied with our conquests in the past. They were happy to maintain the status quo and not reach out and conquer and plunder new worlds to get richer and more powerful. There was this Sith Lord Ludo Koresh. He was the one overseeing Lord Ragnos to his final resting place. They should have shut him in the tomb alongside Ragnos. He was such a fool, an easy puppet to maneuver, as you will see. He actually challenged me right there on the steps to Ragnos' tomb. He pulled out his force-imbued Sith sword and began to wave it around. I gave him a shove. And I would have slain him right there on those steps too, if the Force ghost of Marka Ragnos had not intervened. He spoke and began to ramble on about the Sith Empire and its greatness. He went on to give us a lesson in our own history. Of course, we all know that the Sith are descended from the Dark Jedi. How they discovered the planet Korriban, inhabited by the Sith race. Jedi that were cast out because they rightly believed that the true power lies in the dark side. These Jedi, over time, intermixed with the Sith, and how that many of us are a human-Sith hybrid, while we rule over the pure Sith. This is the same useless noise that Ragnos would go on about when he was alive, reliving the past and their conquests, not willing to make any of his own. Of course, when he was alive, no one defied him. He was the Dark Lord, after all, and even I obeyed him, biding my time. Finally, Ragnos began to get to the point. He said that he had appeared to us at this time to inform us that the Sith Empire was at a crossroads, that it would either continue in this golden age, or that it would fall to ruin. Of course, Lord Koresh took this as a sign that he should rule and maintain the slothful legacy of Ragnos. Of course, I believe different. This golden age would be the age that would fall. And the Sith would come to live in a new, greater golden age under my leadership, with the conquest that I would lead them to. As the ghost of the departed Ragnos finally began to depart himself, slinking back into the tomb at which he had just been sealed, a strange starship appeared in the skies over the Valley of the Dark Lords. Fearfully, Lord Koresh thought this was a good time to remind me of the warning that we had just witnessed from Lord Ragnos. Something to fear is what he saw in the skies, though I saw opportunity. This starship, the Starbreaker 12 or some such name, was piloted by a brother and sister pair of buffoons. They landed and announced that they came in peace and sought trade. What they got was not what they expected, starting by being arrested and thrown in the dungeons with their ship impounded. These two mewling worms were from the Republic, from a planet named Senegar, in a system later to be known as the Empress Teta system. The planet and its capital also became known as Empress Teta. How absurd. I'm surprised that they didn't try to name the entire galaxy after her as well. Unknown to any of the Sith at the time, there was this Jedi filth called Odin. He was a bookworm of a flea, more a librarian than a warrior. This flea had a vision after being sent to serve Empress Teta. The person, not the planet. His vision was of the great Sith Empire having risen up to challenge the Republic in a great conquest of glory. He weaseled off to perform his endeavors. This Teta person had just finished a conquest of her own. She had enslaved her entire system under the guise of peace, in what they called the Unification Wars. She and this Jedi ran off to warn the Republic Senate of their impending doom. However, the fools did not believe that the Sith would soon invade, but what the Jedi had seen would soon come to be true. I had begun to put my plans into motion. I went before the Sith Council, and as expected, Lord Koresh was still trembling, going on about these Republic imbeciles who had presented themselves. He was convinced that they were a scouting force, and that an invasion would soon follow. He wanted to kill the captives and destroy any evidence of their arrival. The wise Lord Simus agreed with me that there was opportunity here. It seems that a century of living as a head in a jar had not diminished Simus's aspirations for greatness. You see, he saved himself from death after being beheaded by the Dark Lord Ragnos, when Simus challenged Ragnos for the title of Dark Lord. Only his strength and the dark side kept him alive. I stepped in and told how the Sith Empire should take this opportunity and exploit it. That the Sith Empire would rise further and conquer the Republic and all of its worlds. That we would rule over 100 scores of new worlds and thousands of races. The very galaxy itself! The council sided with Koresh. It would be the last time they made such a mistake. Lord Simus was carried down to the prison level to break the news to the humans that their fate was to be killed and their deaths covered up. Continuing with my plans, I had my minions board the Starbreaker 12 and steal the weapons that they found on board. I then traveled back to the Citadel where the humans were being held and murdered all the guards and brought the humans back to my stronghold. But before leaving the Citadel prison, I planted the Republic weapons at the scene so that they would be discovered. It is a shame that Lord Simus had to be killed when he discovered what I had done. But his death would most certainly cement the Council's position and doom the Republic. And that is exactly what I found when I was summoned back to the Council. They had discovered my work and blamed it on me. The fools actually believed that there had been a Republic incursion and that they had rescued this Gav Jory. Finally, it was decided that I would be enthroned as the next Dark Lord. Koresh was incensed. He took those loyal to him and left the council. I would deal with him later, when it suited my purposes. The female human Jory I had taken back to my decoy stronghold on Car-Deba. There she would stay until I was ready for her to play her role. The male human Gav I had taken to my true hidden stronghold on Carl Cian. There I found him to have a weak connection to the Force. I decided that I would take him as an apprentice and manipulate him into assisting me in the destruction of the Republic. The fool. I began teaching him things that you would teach an infant. He struggled to manifest the faintest images of creatures I had shown him. Next, I had my forces return to the impound yard and steal the Starbreaker 12. This was done easily. The guards fell with little effort. I instructed my commanders to plant evidence that would be traced back to me. This was discovered by Koresh. Those who defy me will be destroyed, but at a time of my choosing, in a manner that benefits me most. After being presented with the evidence, Koresh finally realized what I wanted him to, that there were no Republic forces, that they were my forces all along. He gathered his fleet, including those loyal to him, and launched an assault on my decoy stronghold. The fool did not realize until it was too late that he had played into my hands. Just before the attack began, I presented the Starbreaker 12 to the human female and sent her off running back home to the Republic. She was so worried about her brother. I convinced her that he would die honorably and that he would want her to live. So she fled. As the Starbreaker 12 took flight and escaped Lord Koresh's fleet, I had my forces who were hidden behind the moon surround what was left of Koresh's fleet. Those loyal to him were assassinated at my signal by the spies that I had in their ranks. Overcome with fear, Lord Koresh fled with what little remained of his forces. With him out of the way, it was finally time to rally the Sith Lords and begin the invasion of the Republic. For as you see, dear Jory Drakan, as she was called, she was not aware of the tracking device which I had installed on her Starbreaker 12, and I would follow its signal back to the Republic. With the Unification Wars having just ended, this Empress Teta system would stand no match for the power of the dark side and the strength of the Sith Hordes!